Hi.
Okay, hi. We're the countdown didn't get started right away, so the countdown didn't get all the way down to zero before we got started. But here we are for another week, and thankfully I'm vertical. Monday was pretty tough, and yesterday I was recovering, and today I'm feeling halfway decent. Kind of ate a half of a meal today so far. A little bit of, well, a lot of bit of flu symptoms and. But I'm on the mend, so that's good. So I didn't get your grades in as quickly as I normally would on Monday. So please know that I think I'm all caught up on grades. If you're still missing a grade, and just let me know. I work with everybody, including those that are in Latin America, playing out in the jungles and having fun this week instead of attending class. So she'll probably live to tell you about it, I'm sure, when she comes back. And that would be Rochelle, who's on a week-long mission to do some good down in Central America. So that's good. So we are going to shake things up a little bit today and do something a little bit different than we've done in the past. And so I'm going to have to pop between a couple different monitors because my teleprompter doesn't show it large enough for me to actually read a website. So I'll have to read some of the things that I want to read off of a different monitor. So we'll make it through though. And that is my full screen view. Yeah, full screen there. Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay, so Robert, are we ready to roll? We've got 12 people online. I'd like to wait for a few because we're gonna play a game to start. So if everybody could get to their phones, we're gonna do a game called Kahoot. I don't know if some of you have it, but Kahoot is just kind of a game we can do a quick review of some of the topics we've covered through week 3. We're in the middle of week 4, so that's a good thing to cover through week 3. That's good. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to play a Kahoot game. We got 10 questions and everybody answers. The rules of Kahoot are basically this. You go to kahoot.it. When I start the game, starting the game will give you a number to put into it when I start it. So if you just get to kahoot.it on your phone or on your tablet, you're all set, ready to go. Now the basic rules are this. Every right answer gets a certain number of points. The fastest right answer gets more points than slower right answers. You're given 60 seconds to answer the question. Now, that gets a little bit funky because we've got about a 7-second delay or so between me seeing it on the screen and starting the timer and you seeing it on the live stream. I believe you see it right away on your phones, but a lot of times you only see the colors of the answer. So I'll try to be good about telling the color of each answer too. Okay? So if we're able to do that, another thing I need to do is I need to reset where my screen is, Robert.
Which screen?
My full screen live stream on my teleprompter is a little bit off. There we go. Now the whole screen is on my teleprompter. Okay, very good. Okay, we're getting a little better. We got 13 online at this moment. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm sure there's some people working and some people, got family affairs or whatever, and Tyler had internet issues, don't we all at times? So no problem, Tyler. No problem at all. Glad you're with us. So you missed the introduction. Everybody go to Kahoot, spelled KAHOOT.IT. And by doing that, I need to get in the right screen. go to kahoot.it, and when I start it, I'll give you a number that we'll also put in the chat window, and you can see the Kahoot main window on the screen now. And I'm going to go ahead and get that started, and get ready to join. The game pin is loading. You see that loading right here. So the game pin is 567513. If you have your phones, you can also scan that QR code that's up there if that helps at all. But usually you're using your phone and joining with your phone too. So I don't know. Some people. Okay, Chase has joined. That's good. And Zach. Okay, we're getting it. And so we'll just have some fun. This is not a graded quiz, although you like to gather those honor points, so to speak. Samantha and Luke, you probably just joined after getting the instructions. Go to kahoot.it on your cell phone or your tablet or your phone. I mean, can they join at kahoot.it on their computers too, Robert?
Absolutely, yeah. You can just open up a new tab in your browser.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty.
These are all IT majors, right? They all have multiple monitors and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Good.
I've met a couple that are using Macs though, so we.
Oof.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh. No, don't get me started on Macintosh, but I'm sure you love it. You love the operating system. You love the look and feel. You love the great Apple name. But you get into the corporate world and Apple is absent. It's totally AWOL. You don't find Apples in the corporate world unless you're in their publishing or advertising departments. And then you find Macintoshes all over the place.
And a lot of video editing and artistry and that kind of stuff.
But if you're going to work for an aerospace company like Boeing or hardcore manufacturing, you just won't see them on the desktop at all. So Macs rule forever.
Oof.
Yeah, we'll have that continuing running battle. The first company I worked for was called the Mac Zone. And I was brought in there as one of two guys sitting in with a whole room full of Mac people to start what they called the Mac Zone. The PC Zone, pardon me. So the PC Zone and Mac Zone were kind of just these dueling banjos constantly. With, of course, they had a reputation in Mac. They had their audience built up in Macs already, so we had a hard time competing for a while. But for 3 years, I worked there selling Macintosh hardware right alongside PC hardware. So I became very sympathetic for you Mac users who spend about 3-4 times as much for your hardware as PC users do. So anyway. We can move on. We're just having a little bit of fun talking like friends, right? Anyway, so, okay, 567513. I'm going to go ahead and kick this party to start. We got a good bunch of folks online already, so let's get started. We have question number 1 coming up, and this is from our Blockchain for Business Week 3 course, or Kahoot. And distributed ledgers are... You have choice of red being books of account, blue, data held on nodes on a blockchain, yellow, another name for blockchain, and green, Bitcoin. So distributed ledgers are books of account or data held on nodes on a blockchain, or another name for a blockchain, or Bitcoin. And I show 35 seconds left to answer. It's a little bit more if you're looking at your screen, because I see that delay here. Looks like about a 6-second delay today, so that's good. Okay. And we have 12 people that have answered so far. 13.
And for anybody joining late, you can jump in on the Kahoot at any time. The code is still at the bottom of the screen.
Yep. Kahoot.it. Yep. And Robert has superimposed it on the live stream so that you can see it and be there all the time. Okay, we have some answers. And, yeah, good. 9 people answered correctly. 5 people had got a little sideways on that answer. Yes, they're kind of books of account, but actually they're data held on a distributed ledger. The challenge the challenge with books of account is that intimates that it's finance, and it's not always finance. It could be shipping data for a supply chain management type of application. So, and yellow, another name for blockchain, it is a very, very prominent component of blockchain. So I can see how you answered that. So the most correct answer here is the blue, and we got 9 answers there, so that's great. And let's move on. Let's see who answered best there. We have Joe McChicken as the number 1 answer there. Robert, are you playing again?
Quality testing every time.
Quality testing every time. Would you happen to be the infamous Joe McChicken?
No, I'm Rob.
You're Rob. Okay, so Joe McChicken still beat you. Okay, moving on. Let's go to the next one. I have fun doing these. You gotta know that. What creates value in a blockchain? So, red, being backed by real fiat currency. I think that's a misnomer. Blue, being well distributed. Yellow, having a coin rise in price. And green, solving a real world problem. So what creates value in a blockchain? Backed by fiat currency, being well distributed, having the coin rise in price, or solving a real world problem. Let's see who gives us an answer there. This goes right to the understanding of what we do for blockchain for business. So if I keep babbling, I'll give out the answer. Okay, so Dylan, I don't think you had joined us yet. Go to kahoot.it. It's showing on the screen there. And the number you would enter is showing on the screen also. And as you enter that, you can join at any question. So we are evenly spaced here as to what causes or creates value on a blockchain. And, being backed by a real fiat currency, being backed by a fake currency that's probably not any more real than Bitcoin. But anyway, no, that doesn't create the value. Being well distributed, while that creates a better blockchain, it doesn't create value. It's kind of like, if you've ever been in project management, it's kind of hard to hear that there are a lot of tasks that are non-value added. In other words, if you're building a plane, every time you screw in another bolt or you put on another part on the plane, that's adding value. But frankly, the engineer that designed that plane doesn't add a stick of value for the customer. Okay? They might engineer a good plane, but it doesn't add value to a customer because they don't have a plane in hand that they can fly customers around and create value.
Is that what Boeing forgot?
Now, we're getting tender here. We'll move on from that question. Okay, having the coin rise in price definitely creates value in our pocketbook, but the blockchain itself hasn't added any value. Its participants have more value. What really creates value in a blockchain for business blockchain is when it solves a real problem like supply chain or like patents for your work that you've created, or your intellectual property that you can put on a blockchain and know that your intellectual property can be secured and then monetized. Those kind of things, solving those real world problems, is what creates value on a blockchain.
And even on the crypto side, Ethereum is the only altcoin that has ever mattered because they created the ERC20. They allowed you to put smart contracts on a blockchain. That's creating massive amounts of value that nobody else has really done uniquely in the altcoin market.
Absolutely true. And Bitcoin would create value if they could get some depth of usership out there. But you see what the politicians have been able to do to that. So, 1652. Wow, Luke, where'd you come from? And Joe dipped down a little bit, and Ariana must have answered the last 2 questions correctly. So remember, the right answers get a certain number of points, but the fastest right answer gets the most points. Okay? So question number 3, let's go. What is not a building block of blockchain? What is not a building block of blockchain? And so we have Legos there. Privacy is not a building block of blockchain.
Red.
Privacy, number red. Shared ledger, blue. Coins or tokens, yellow. Or trust is green. So what is not a building block of blockchain? Okay. This is really a tricky answer. I'm not saying it's a trick answer. It's just a tricky one. Okay. And we have 16 people online. Hey, that's good. Okay. You know, I'm amazed that Apple has not gone south when Steve Jobs passed on. They obviously had a very good manager, CEO at the helm that could keep things moving forward. Well, it still remains to see how far they can progress forward, but they've done good so far. Okay, the majority of the people got the answer right. Is coins or tokens is not is not an element of blockchain. Privacy, shared ledger, and trust are the three main building blocks of blockchain. That's good. Okay, moving forward, let's see. Luke dropped out of the top 5 even, and Joe has regained the top here. Okay, very good. And let's go to the next one. Question 4. Blockchains are of no use at all to business. True or false? True is blue, false is red. No use for business at all. And if this doesn't get a unanimous answer, I'm retiring. I'm quitting as a teacher. So this is a gimme answer. Just how quick somebody can answer it and make points, huh?
This is a latency check for viewers. Who has the best internet?
Justice says laugh out loud. Okay, somebody answer. Did you answer wrong deliberately, Robert?
I did. I'm trying to get out a leaderboard. So yes, it was unanimous. You can keep teaching.
All right. Okay, very good. 14-1. That's good. Okay. So, yep, he dropped off the leaderboard. Okay, and Joe retained his lead. There we go. 5 out of 10. Businesses gain efficiency by red, accepting bitcoins as payments. Blue, deploying blockchain to improve the image of the company. Yellow, providing NFTs to represent your product lines. Or green, reducing the number of intermediaries in the process. Businesses gain efficiencies by one of those 4. Accepting Bitcoin, or deploying blockchains, or providing NFTs, or reducing intermediaries. Your choice. And the picture is a nice big clue. Okay, we got 14 answers. We got 15 people online as far as I know. And Justin said laugh out loud, by the way. Yep. Okay. We've got a split decision here. Green is reducing the number of intermediaries, but I got a lot of people stuck on deploying blockchain to improve the image of the company. That is called FOMO, fear of missing out. I'm going to deploy a blockchain so I can say that I'm high tech. No, that's not a good business strategy. Really, it's not. So, go ahead.
No.
So, not a good business strategy. A lot of times people go down, spend a lot of money going down bunny trails that, you just don't need to go down when you have that kind of a business process. And believe me, when data warehousing first came out, there were a lot of people thinking that was the silver bullet. It eventually gained traction enough that it was a good thing to do. But at the very, very beginning, data warehousing was really, really suspect. The same with enterprise resource planning software. That was very, very expensive to deploy and took years. Boeing took 7 years to deploy their first ERP system. And the budget became so bloated on that one project that eventually a manager says, hey, we're going to cut our losses. You deploy something today or we're just going to quit. And so they did. They just pushed it over the top and then continued fixing things after it was deployed. Some tough decisions sometimes. So you gain efficiency by making things more efficient. So Joe McChicken is staying up there. And I'm going to ask who Joe is at the end of this, so it'll be interesting. Okay, so let's go to that next question, 6 out of 10. What does trustless mean? What does trustless mean? It says, means not having to rely on humans, individuals, but on computer code. Red or blue, trust is earned, not from code. Or yellow, you can't rely on it. That's what trustless means, right? Look at any dictionary. That's what it means, right? Oh, anyway. Green, trust comes from the government in fiat currency. So, not having to rely on individuals but on code, or trust is earned, not from code. And yellow, you can't rely on it, or trust comes from the government. If anybody answers green, we have some very trusting souls out there. Okay, here we go. We got 12 answers in. A couple people are still thinking. And we have 7 people got stuck on you can't rely on it. Well, yes, that is the dictionary definition of trustless. So why do computer geeks always want to twist what words really mean? Like a bit, a bite, and a nibble? Just, it always astounds me. So trustless does mean you can't rely on it, but not in a blockchain sense. In a blockchain sense, red is our answer here. Not having to rely on individuals, but having to rely on computer code, and the whole underpinning to that idea is that in the code can be written fixed rules that everybody follows by, and they're always the same. So you can't put out a 20 onto the counter and get a special treatment from a blockchain. You can't push your paperwork around and get your advantage over another person, because this intermediary will help you when he won't help another person. No, code allows it to do the job and do the job the same way every single day, every single time. So that is the answer, red. All right, next. We have children outside if you're hearing them. By the way, I live here on a little 3-acre farm with lots of goats and sheep and 3 little pigs. 3 little pigs. I hadn't even thought of that. They are 3. 3 little pigs and 9 grandchildren. So occasionally you hear the little kiddos outside playing. So, okay, Joe McChicken. Gosh, he is just stretching his lead. You sure that's not you?
No.
Okay, all righty. 3 players just dropped their answer streak of 3.
Oof.
What does that mean?
That means 3 people
just dropped 3
just
points.
Lost. 3 people answered incorrectly.
Okay, 7 of 10. Governance can be written into the blockchain. True or false? Governance can be written into a blockchain. True, red is blue, and red is false. True blue, and red means stop. No, go. It is false. So who's got that answer?
Looks like
Okay.
Gavin and Justin are struggling a little bit with the stream delay, shortening their time to give an answer. So
Yeah, that.
I'm glad we have set it a minute to
Yeah.
hopefully give them a little bit more time.
Yeah, we had to play with the amount of time given to give each answer. And then we had to make sure that YouTube would display the stream as fast as possible. We got kind of a fairly good compromise. Okay, so we have 14 answers in. True is the correct answer. Yes, you can write governance into the blockchain. And I think that's actually in an up-and-coming chapter. I think they hinted to it up in the first 3 chapters. But yes, governance can be written into the blockchain in the respect that rules of coding and deployment, just like you in business, you have a package of software usually that you put the tasks that you're doing, and they put the user stories in there, and then they break the user stories into tasks that will be completed. And once the tasks are written in there, they can assign the tasks to various coders, and then the coders take and they check their code out and check the code back in. All of that with smart contracts can be written into a blockchain, and the governance for the blockchain being written at the time can be written right in the same blockchain, and it keeps track of all of the coding changes and everything. It's really, really quite slick. And IBM and all of their coding puts it in there. So, all right, now let's see if anybody changed. Top 3 stayed the same, so that's good. Okay, let's see. Nick has an answer streak of 4, so he's on fire, they show there. Nick is on fire. Okay. 8 of 10, let's go. Having a wallet on exchange like Coinbase is an example of a cold wallet, true or false? Having a wallet on an exchange like Coinbase is an example of a cold wallet. True is blue, false is red. And we have 7 answers. Okay, people are scratching their heads on this one a little bit. Taking a little while to get the answers in. Okay. Okay, we've got 13 answers in. If there's still 15 people online, then we got a couple more answers.
The farther away we get from Mt. Gox, the more people forget about cold wallets.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And 10 people got this answer correct, and that's good. A cold wallet is when you have a wallet not attached to the internet. In fact, it's usually on either a device, a Tizo device, which is a hardware wallet, and it's disconnected from the internet and totally free of any chance to be hacked. Or you even print the private key off on a piece of paper and put it in a safe for safe storage, so to speak. Okay, so a cold wallet. Now, for completeness here, a Coinbase is it's not a hot wallet, it's a custodial wallet. A hot wallet is when you download your own version of, let's say, Bitcoin, of the Bitcoin software onto your computer, and you're doing mining directly on your computer through your video cards or whatever. That is a hot wallet, meaning your wallet is directly exposed straight to the internet and to all the other miners that are online. It takes quite a bit of security to make sure that that stays safe, and it's really not recommended anymore. That's the way they did it at the very beginning, but not anymore, seriously. Okay, so is Joe gonna hang on to his lead this whole time? Justin's trying his hardest to stay up there and keep going, but the rest keep on twirling in the background there. Okay, let's do 9 of 10. What is not a type of crypto wallet? Okay, red, a custodial wallet; blue, a cold wallet; yellow, a hot wallet; or green, a public wallet. We'll see how many people are listening. Stop laughing, Robert.
Whoops. I keep on forgetting to turn off the random answer question order on this one.
I tried looking for the randomizer. You know, this question ought to be detached from the last one.
This one should be first.
Yes. This one should be first, and then figure out which one the custodial wallet is. Yeah.
There you go.
But we're still spread out. Okay, public wallet is the correct answer, but we still had cold wallet and custodial wallet as possibly not crypto wallets. Well, cold wallet, remember, is the one that you put on a Tizo hardware device, or you print it out on paper and put it in your safe. And a custodial wallet is what you'd have at Coinbase. So, of those two, a public wallet is definitely not a type of wallet. Okay, he's staying in the lead. He's staying in the lead without getting any points last time. Do you realize that?
Oof. But
Joe did not get any points last time.
Which means Justin is basically...
Which means Justin's knocking at the door. We've got one question left. Is Justin going to take it over? How do blockchains build trust? How do blockchain build trust? By not changing the algorithm, red, like Ethereum did; blue, by creating an immutable record; yellow, by making stakeholders purchase coin; And green, by not using fiat. How do blockchains build trust? How do blockchains build trust? Okay, let's see. Got 10 answers in. Okay. Okay, got a couple more answers coming. There's 11. We've had 14 for the last couple times, so we got 12 out of 14. And 13. If we hit 14 before the time goes up, it just goes straight to the answer. So one more answer. Joe, don't give me hope. Okay. Okay. By creating an immutable record has the majority of answers and is correct. Yes. Forcing stakeholders to buy coin doesn't really help them build trust, and definitely not using a fiat currency would help build trust, but creating an immutable record is by far the best answer. And let's see who has left for the top. The podium, number 3 is Nick. And number 2 is going to be Zach.
What?
And number 1 is Justin. Where did Joe go? Luke and Joe fell to 5th? Joe, were you deliberately tanking it? So who's Joe?
Who is Joe?
Who's Joe? Justin, the comeback kid. There you go, the comeback kid. Nick,
Congrats to
podium
you guys, my
baby.
podium.
Yep.
Well done.
And who is Joe? Come on, let me in on the secret here. Who's Joe? Okay. Hopefully we'll get an answer. Anyway, okay, let's move on. We had an article submitted here on what is a CBDC. And, you know, it was a Forbes article, should be a very respected article. And they come down here and, you know, learning about wholesale and retail. Zach is Joe Mama?
No.
No?
Zach, don't make me explain the joke.
It's a joke that us old folks can't understand. Is that it? Okay. Everybody, 3 others are laughing at it. I should be in on the joke, but anyway, okay. So wholesale CBDCs, you know, basically the one that they just deployed in the U.S. that they called FedNow is a wholesale CBDC. So we're already one step into deploying CBDCs. Okay, I'm going to be treated to an education after class. All right, so it's a wholesale CBDC, and that allows the banks to transfer money between banks. That's the biggest thing. Transferring money between banks just got cheaper and easier by the Fed. Okay. I'm being the butt of people's jokes today. Okay, I get it. Okay. Now, a retail CBDC is one that you and I would use. We'd have our personal wallets. We'd have, most likely, it would be on our phones, and we would be able to transfer funds to and from, pay for product, just like you would with Bitcoin. And the whole point of what the Federal Reserve banks of all of these different companies, the central banks of all these different countries, to use the term, are trying to do is they're trying to get everybody to think that they're just another variant of Bitcoin. And truly, they are not. And so we'll go down here a little bit and see the advantages of CBDCs, the disadvantages of CBDCs. I think it's in the advantages. Proponents of CBDCs argue that they will lower costs, offer greater transparency, and improve efficiency for national payment systems. They'll also help to improve access to financial services, particularly in developing worlds. That all sounds wonderful and lovely. They offer new monetary policy tools to stimulate a slumping economy or reduce inflation. That sounds really good, but that's all rife with a whole bunch of negatives. Users could enjoy minimal or no fees for instant money transfers, and the government could instantly send and track direct economic stimulus payments to the accounts of all citizens. Wow, that sounds like COVID all over again. The challenge is that in those statements is also the negative side of that. If they can stimulate the economy and do all those things, they can also turn off your wallets to spending in certain areas. And that's been openly said by the World Economic Forum, and I could pull up videos on how they're talking about a whole host of financial policy tools that can be used to, of course, they're working on shutting down all the bad guys. But the problem is they continually redefine who the bad guys are. And if you're on the other side of the fence of what they think you want to say or ought to say, you could all of a sudden become the bad guy. So here's a good article stating all the good positives about it, and you're going to see a lot of these being spun. But there's interesting challenges, and we're watching it play out in the world right now. We've got several examples of countries trying to push out a central bank digital currency. So let's take a look at some of those examples. First one is we've got the sand dollar, the digital dollar in the Bahamas. Now, the digital dollar in the Bahamas, this is their main website. Of course, you're going to see all the fluff and wonderful positives here on the website. Safe, easy alternative to cash, evolving objectives. This one right here is the one that concerns me. It says, strengthen our national defenses against money laundering, counterfeiting, and other illicit ends by reducing the illicit effects of cash usage. Now, I don't know about you, but I kind of like paying cash once in a while. Not that I want to buy illegal things with my cash, but I don't need the Federal Reserve or the central banks knowing everywhere that I've spent my dollars. Now, I say that, and I use a debit card almost everywhere I go, which they could easily get a subpoena for and have all my bank records and know where I spend my money anyway. And that's an argument that they're going to be using in order to, say, well, we already know where you're spending your money. Yeah, Robert, you have a comment?
The big difference is that they need a subpoena to access those records, as opposed to if you're on a CBDC, by default, all your records belong to them already.
Yeah.
No subpoena needed. They have everything.
They own the data. That's why it's called central. They own the data, just like Boeing owns all of their data, and like any company out there owns their own data in their own data warehouse and their own computing systems. Exactly right. So that's the sand dollar. And so there's another example. As soon as it comes, should be no problem. Except that it's coming halfway across the world. We're going to Nigeria. Pardon?
They finally gave up.
Yep, the e-Naira. The Naira is the coin or the cash, the monetary system in Nigeria, in Nigeria. And the Naira has been tried now for almost 3 years, or even possibly a little more than 3 years now, where they've worked on deploying the Naira. Basically, I thought the Naira was dead. Articles that I'd seen about a year ago basically said that it was a dead project. But this is still their website, and they claim that its copyright is still this year. So the e-Naira for business, no one is excluded. They have different levels of wallets. The bronze wallet is for people like you and me, but look at the restrictions. They have a wallet cap of $120,000. Okay, so FDIC insurance of $120,000 or so. That kind of is similar to that. You can have a daily credit line of up to $20,000, and you can have a daily withdrawal of only $500. Now in Nigeria, that might be a lot of money.
It might be. Yeah, that's all I was going to say.
But
who knows?
It's 500 Naira. It's not dollars. Pardon me. And then a silver wallet looks like for small business, gold wallet for larger business, and a platinum wallet looks like it's the bank level of wallets. So, they're touting all the wonderful positives of it, and that's what you would expect. You would expect that in a central bank digital currency that's being promoted. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Let's explore the experience in El Salvador. Now, El Salvador right now has Bitcoin as their central bank digital currency. In other words, they have actually a distributed bank digital currency because they just adopted the Bitcoin. But they've had a challenge with getting adoption to move forward, with only 1% of remittances being made using crypto. Okay? The challenge is just getting everybody to use it as the official coin within the country. And, frankly, it's a technology thing that you've got to overcome. I mean, people my age don't generally grow up with computers like I did. I mean, I was fascinated with computers when I first started hearing about them in the 1980s, shortly after I was married. And so I grew up with them, growing up from a PC XT that barely even functioned with a 30 megabyte hard drive. And yes, I did say megabyte, not gigabyte or terabyte. 30 megabyte hard drive on it, and 2 floppy disks to save data if you wanted to save data. No such thing at that point of the internet. That didn't come for a few more years later, when the internet actually came around. So there's very few people who, in my boat, grew up with computers like that. So you've got a lot of people who are challenged by just having that kind of technology on your phone. So they do understand putting a bill in your wallet and taking that bill out to pay for goods. So a 16 terabyte hard drive in your NAS. Yeah, exactly. Huge difference, Luke. That's so very, very true. So you've got the challenge is they talk about this being a sharp decline. The economy has also gone down too. So this might not really be a sharp decline, but the amount of transactions that have been done in the country from 2022 to 2023 has declined. So how much that means, I don't know. Only 1% of the remittances being done in crypto. A little bit of a concern. I think they just need to continue going at it because they've got their own crypto farms. They're becoming wealthy with their own crypto farms that are owned by the government, and so the central bank is actually promoting the running. I mean, it's an incredibly crypto-friendly country as a whole. So that's their experience having there. Even though it's a well-established coin, we're not talking about a new technology with a CBDC, a well-established coin, and they're struggling to get people to really adopt it well. The next one is Nigeria's experience with the e-Naira. And this is just a working paper, International Monetary Fund, and they're talking about, their experience and how well their CBDC is going. And basically, it says the e-Naira's potential in financial inclusion requires a strategy to set the right relationship with mobile money, given that the former's potential to either complement or substitute the latter. Despite the laudable, undisputed operation for the first few years, the CBDC project has not yet moved beyond the initial wave of limited adoption. Okay, so they're having trouble there. Basically, the country, when you read other articles and not the IMF official rag about it, you hear that people are just rejecting it. They don't want it. They want their cash, and they're willing to stick with their cash. And the government in Nigeria right now is fussing with the idea of whether they're going to just force people to begin adopting the Naira by taking cash out of the system and forcing the e-Naira down their throats. The next thing is, let's get up to the top of this article. Lessons from the first implemented CBDC, the sand dollar. Remember, we talked about Bahamas. The sand dollar. The challenge as they go down here is, why is the adoption rate so low? Recognizing the low adoption rate, the CBOB cites 2 reasons. First, priority was given to growing and improving the Sand Dollar network by allowing AFIs, and I'm not sure exactly, affiliated banks or something, to join. They were given the space to develop new applications, add them to the Sand Dollar. Thus, to date, less priority has been given to increasing adoption rates among the population. COVID-19 also had a challenge in there because they tried to get it adopted just before COVID. But frankly, the Sand Dollar was only even accepted, was even the only means of accepted payment. This caused an increase of 200,000 Sand Dollars. The CBOB, that must be their central bank of the Bahamas, has announced even more initiatives to grow the network. The relatively low rate of adoption has other causes too. Any new forms of money need time to generate trust among the general public. Okay. Now, generate trust among the general public. Here you've got a situation where you listen to the World Economic Forum and you listen to all those people tout the fact that central bank digital currencies are going to allow them to have control over social engineering, and people run for the hills. They get scared. And the problem is those idiots in the World Economic Forum are really bent on controlling populations through the money system. And so you have constant pushback, like we saw last week when we talked about this, where our Congress is stating you will not have a central bank digital currency if it allows you to, with unfettered access, see the transactions of all of the population. So in the U.S., there's extreme pushback. Now, we're talking about countries that generally go with what the government says to do. Nigeria, the Bahamas, Venezuela, El Salvador. Those countries generally, have been used to being controlled by their government, and they're not adopting well either. So I have, I think, one more article I looked at, the MIT review, what China's digital currency, the digital yuan. Now, the digital yuan is, oddly enough, about the only place that they are having modest success. Well, you've got to look at their form of government to understand why their success is more promising than in other countries. Basically, they say, you will use this money and you will stop using paper. They can get away with that, where a lot of other governments that enjoy freedom, the population enjoys freedom, aren't going to be able to get away with that. So they even talk about managed anonymity. Okay, we're going to let you be anonymous but not be anonymous? Is that what that's saying? Managed anonymity? Okay, that sounds interesting. And they're struggling to get applications. They're competing against an app, a payment app by Tencent, and a payment app by Alibaba. Alibaba Pay and Tencent Pay, I think are the two. They're competing against those two. And those are two state-run companies that have been allowed to flourish, yet they're competing against the digital yuan. And you know what happens when you get competing interests in the government in China. The government wins, so we'll see how that one keeps playing out. Yeah.
One thing that seems clear when you look at all these different articles, and I've seen positive and negative articles about each one of these cases, depending who you talk to. One of the first questions we had in the Kahoot was, what creates value in a blockchain? And when I look at each one of these cases, where's the value being created? For the Bahamas, well, first off, they're already a tourist destination. Mm-hmm. They receive a lot of American money, through tourism and everything else. Mm-hmm. They're already on the dollar. What additional value do they get by going with a central bank digital currency? Mm-hmm. It's just a technology cost. As opposed to, let's say, El Salvador. Well, they were a backwards country with tons of crime. Mm-hmm. They had some good technology centers. But what they gained was a whole lot of stability by going to Bitcoin. As volatile as it is for us, it was more stable for them. So that's one thing. Second, that allows them to mine their own. there was in El Salvador a use case, therefore value add in El Salvador, even if they haven't realized all those gains yet, as opposed to the e-Naira. There's no gains to be realized there.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's where I look at each one of these and say, is there a use case? For the governments who want to have more control of their citizens, yes. And that's why, in my opinion, that's why they're doing it, because they get more control, not because their people gain anything from it.
Yeah. Although, like we've already been over, they're going to try to sell all the benefits. And frankly, people are going to see, I think people in the U.S. are going to see through that and say, well, but I get that benefit with my debit card. Or I get that benefit by charging everything on my credit card and getting 3% back every month, depending on where I spend my money. So what's the benefit? A CBDC does what for me?
Until they turn it into a gift card, until it turns into a giveaway where only with the CBDC can you buy X, Y, or Z, or you get free benefits from, then suddenly it has value.
And there's plenty of people that will have their hand out for that value. That's true. All righty. So, that's my take on a subject that came up this week. Another interesting article that I thought was incredible was the article that was posted about blockchain being used to simulate chemical reactions that would simulate the beginning of Earth's creation. And I thought that was incredibly insightful. Great article. Glad you found that one. That one, boy, I don't know how you found that one, but that's good. I was really impressed with that article as well as the CBDC article. It was interesting that a lot of you, I think one article was posted by 4 different students, the same article. Another article was posted by 3 different students. So obviously there's a few articles out there that get pushed to your desktops more than others, and of course you don't see everybody else's article until after you do your first write-up, so there's no way for you to know that somebody else is going to post that article. So kudos to all of you who kind of keyed on a certain article as being important, because both those articles were good. I'm struggling to remember the exact topic because I tend to focus on a topic when I get prepared for tonight and kind of forget the rest. But did a good job this week. The grades are coming in. Do a little bit better on posting those articles on time. I really hate taking away points for not getting that first post on time, simply because we need to have a good, robust discussion. And Wednesday is about the latest you can really post and still have a discussion about those topics toward the end of the week. So do your best to get that Wednesday post in. You don't have to go do a summary if you're here today. Robert is taking attendance on his spreadsheet like he always does. If I get sick or something, I normally post the grades on Monday. So by the end of Monday, if you still have a 0 in there, get concerned. But otherwise, it's just waiting for me to put the grade in from the attendance. Today, it slid to Wednesday because I was still heaving on all day Monday and recovering from it yesterday. So I didn't get to do that. But all the grades are in for this week and they're posted. So hopefully everybody's happy. If you see some anomaly, let me know, and we'll see what we need to do to get it fixed. Or you need an explanation, let me know. We'll get it fixed. So, all right. I think we're ready for the final attendance, and I'll keep answering. Are we still able to get points from last week's class if we didn't do this week? Yes, definitely. Last week's live stream, yes. You can get credit for that live stream all the way to the end. Okay? So yes, Luke, that was a very good question. Glad you asked that. That was a good one. Okay, and everybody's posting their names as we say goodbye to everybody. Peter, Tyra, Justin, Gavin, good. Haley Edler, interesting. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, I don't see any other questions popping up. I'll keep looking at the screen for the next 6 minutes, making sure we don't get any last-minute questions, and I'll just answer them straight in in the chat window if they do pop up. Otherwise, we'll look forward to seeing you again next week.